The most sacred, they are the Vedas. It's mentioned in Yajurveda, chapter number 32, verse number 3. Na tasya pratima asti. Of that God, there is no pratima. As I mentioned earlier, pratima is a Sanskrit word which means an image, an idol, a statue, a painting, a picture, a photograph. So Yajurveda chapter number 32 verse number 3 says, Na tasya pratima asti. Of that God, there is no image, there is no idol, there is no statue, there is no picture, there is no painting, there is no photograph.
Namaste to all. One of the very famous Veda mantra which is always quoted by Zakir Naik and his associates whenever they speak to Hindu brothers and sisters, just to prove their point that Almighty God mentioned in the Veda and the Quran is same. They quote the Veda mantra Yajurveda 32/3, and Zakir Naik used to say only this point, Natasya pratima asti. Of that God there is no image, which is actually a right translation. But the problem is of which God? Almighty God says in Atharvaveda, do not steal a portion of my Veda mantra for your selfish benefits. Always take the Veda mantra in the whole. That means whenever you are speaking about a Veda mantra, you must speak the full Veda mantra and you must speak the truth of the full Vedas, because every Veda mantra contains the truth of entire Vedas. That is the specialty of Vedas, because Vedas never contradict. Vedas are ultimate knowledge of Almighty God. There is no iota of doubt or falsehood in the Vedas. So if somebody says Natasya pratima asti, of that Almighty God there is no image, and Zakir Naik says the same thing is also mentioned in Quran, and Quran is the last revelation, so Veda and Quran are speaking about the same God, and Veda is speaking about the last messenger Prophet Muhammad. So, and Allah is telling the last messenger Prophet Muhammad, so you should follow Quran. This is a totally false message against Almighty God, against Vedas. Because as per the Vedic philosophy, Almighty God does not require a messenger. Almighty God does not require an angel to convey his message. Vedas are knowledge which emanates inside the heart of a yogi or a rishi when he attains a samadhi. This proof is there in Samaveda as well as in Atharvaveda, where God says, Tam rishim tam sumedam tam brahmanam yo prataksham brahma vidyat. When somebody is realizing the Almighty God, he prataksham means he realizes the Vedas in samadhi. Then that person is called as rishi, muni, yogi, tapasvi. Means when he attains a samadhi, he has the darshan of Paramatma as well as the Vedas. So Vedas are not books. So now coming to this mantra, of that God there is no image, is a right translation, but we have to understand of which God. This is the portion which he always misses and he tries to misguide the people. This video is to guide all the people towards the right path of which God. Of course, I am not a rishi, muni, yogi, tapasvi. I am just a normal human being. I am a student of my Acharya, Swami Ramswar Yogacharya. Whatever knowledge I share is always learned from the Guru Sishya Parampara, from the Acharya. It is not a bookish knowledge. Of course, when I say it becomes a bookish knowledge, when an Acharya says it is the Vedic knowledge. The difference between Vedas and bookish knowledge is a normal human being says some speech, it is called as bookish knowledge. And when an Acharya speaks, it is the Vedas, because Acharya is a Samadhist Purush who has realized Vedas and Paramatma in Samadhi. So whatever I have learned from my Acharya, I am trying to speak to you. You can always and you must always go to an Acharya to learn Vedas. I speak of this Veda mantra, Yajurveda 32/3. The mantra is Om Natasya pratima asti yasya nama mahadyashah hiranyagarbha ityesha mama hingsit ityesha yasman najata ityesha. The full mantra is always left out by Zakir Naik. He just takes the word Natasya pratima asti, which is totally against Vedas. See, of that God means of which God? God is described being the quality of that Almighty God in this mantra. See, when we go to a new place, we have to introduce ourselves. That my name is so and so, I have come for this purpose, I have studied this one. You know, whatever it is, when I go to some place, I have to introduce myself before asking or before telling somebody that this is why I have come. Similarly, when God creates the universe, He has to introduce Himself. And He introduces Himself through the Vedas. So if any book contradicts to the introduction about Almighty God, then we must ignore that book. And sorry to say, unfortunately, the description about Almighty God mentioned in Quran does not match with the Vedas. So it is up to your own free will to accept Vedas or not. But we have to always speak the truth. That is the message of Almighty God in the Vedas. And truth is na abhavo vidyate satah. Truth is never destroyed even for a single moment. So if some knowledge is given 1400 years back which contradicts to Vedas, then obviously the truth is Vedas only. We should follow and adopt the Vedic path. So Natasya Pratima Asti, the meaning is beautifully written by my Acharya as well as Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati in one of his book. I tried to translate in English. The meaning is Almighty God is giving the knowledge to humans, oh Jivatma, one who never assumes a body, one who never changes himself due to any reasons, just following his Vedic Dharma itself is his name jap. See here, the clarity is coming. Just following his Vedic instructions itself is name jap. That is the worship of Almighty God. One who gives his blessings to those who follows and truly worships him according to the Vedas, and one whose praise is praised in all the Vedas. One who never dies, one who never gets altered, one who never gets birth, and one who never gets destroyed. You must worship only this God and nobody else other than this God. Otherwise it will lead to great sin which will put you in pain and misery and will destroy you. This is the message of God in this mantra. The full mantra is this one. So here we should understand God is speaking about the person who follows Vedic Dharma. God is speaking about the person, humans should follow the Vedic Dharma, and that following of Vedic Dharma is called as name jap. So God says in the Vedas, every day we must worship Almighty God by Agnihotra, every day by name jap, by Ashtanga Yoga Tapasya, by speaking the truth, by adopting vegetarianism, ahimsa. So when we do not follow these things, then we can never do name jap of Almighty God. And God says, if you are doing everyday kartavya karma, moral duties, morning to evening, you are actually worshipping Almighty God. This mantra is clarifying. Yashah Nama Mahadyashah. This is the mantra. And also mantra says, Mama Hingsit. That means when we worship anybody else, God will put us in fact, our own karma will put us in the sorrow and pain and miseries. So we should never worship anybody else other than the God which is described by God in the Vedas only, is the message of 32/3 Yajurveda. Now when Zakir Naik speaks to somebody, neither Zakir has studied Vedas, nor the opposite person who is a Hindu brother, innocent Hindu brother or innocent Hindu sister, he or she has studied Vedas. But Zakir Naik says, go to your Google and search 32/3 Natasya Pratimasti. Yesterday somebody was sending a message from Google Translation. I told him, brother, do not study Vedas by Google Translation, because whatever is input in Google only will come to you in Google. Vedas are not to be studied in Google. In fact, Vedas are not to be studied even by books. Shruti Shrutukarana Vedas are always to be listened from an Acharya who is a Samadhist yogi, because a Samadhist Purush will never tell lies at any circumstances, because he has realized Almighty God in Samadhi and he has realized Vedas in Samadhi. He can never tell lies. So always Shruti Shrutukarana Iti Shushuma Dhiranam Yena Stata Vichachakshire says Yajurveda 40/10 mantra. So we must Dhirana means yogis, rishis, munis, tapasvis. Listen Vedas from the tapasvis. So always listen Vedas. If you cannot find a tapasvi, rishi, muni, then at least go to the source who knows Vedas, who is having an acharya who is adopting Vedas in his life. Try to go to that source and listen. Then try to search acharya in parallel. Otherwise, we will get always fooled by this kind of people just for the benefit of converting people from Hinduism to Islam. We don't need any conversion. There is no need for conversion, because God has created the human body to adopt the dharma. Sometimes Muslim brother was asking me, one of the Muslim brother who is very, very interested in Vedic dharma, he was asking me, should I convert myself to do Agnihotra? No need for conversion. The moment you adopt that Almighty God is in Vedas, and the moment you are accepting the truth of Vedas and also trying to understand the contradictions between other man-made books and Vedas, and then you see that Vedas are the ultimate truth, because Vedas have been wrongly interpreted by so many selfish people just for earning name and fame and money. If you have understood this truth and then coming to the feet of Almighty God, which is the Vedic Dharma, which is the Acharya Seva, that is enough. Start Agnihotra, start everyday name jap, and slowly every day parallelly try to do Swadhyaya, which is books written by Rishi Munis, and then try to search an Acharya. That's all. You don't need to convert into any other religion, because religion is man-made. What you have to convert is your inner mind. Your mind has to be converted, not your religion. You don't need to convert your religion. Just adopt the Vedic Dharma. That is why it is called as Dharma. Dharma means you have to adopt it. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.